In today's video, we're going to be doing a speed installation of HomeAssistant on a Raspberry Pi with an SSD. Check it out. For this installation, you're going to need a couple of bits of hardware and a couple of bits of software. First up, we're going to need a Raspberry Pi, an SD card, a solid state drive, a SATA to USB 3 adapter, an SD card reader, a power supply for your Raspberry Pi, and an Ethernet cable. We're also going to need 3 bits of software: Pi Imager, Etcher, and the image for your Raspberry Pi. I'll have links for all of these in the description below. So you've got all that hardware, you've downloaded Etcher, you've downloaded the Pi Imager, and you've downloaded the right version of the Pi image. So let's get started. So install Etcher and install the Pi Imager so that they're both ready to go. Okay, we're then going to run Raspberry Pi Imager. We're going to choose the Raspberry Pi OS, choose our SD card, and then hit write. This is then going to start writing the Raspberry Pi image to your SD card. This could easily take 5 to 10 minutes, so I suggest get a cup of tea and maybe subscribe below. Once that's finished writing, you'll see it start verifying. After it's verified, you'll get a little pop-up just to say that it's finished installing. Okay, next up we're going to open the SD card that we've just put the Pi image on. We're going to navigate to the boot partition and we're going to drag an SSH file into this partition. It's just a blank SSH file, and for those of you that don't know how to create that, I've left a link to my GitHub below so you can just download that copy. We're then going to safely eject the SD card, put it in the Pi, plug in all your cables and boot up the Pi. Once everything's plugged in, we're going to open our favourite SSH client and enter the IP address of the Pi. Wait. I thought you said there was only a couple of downloads. What's this SSH client? Well, you guys are smarty pants, so you already have SSH clients and you already know how to get the IP address of your Pi. If you don't have an SSH client, there'll be a link in the description. And I've got a longer video to show you how to get your IP address. So back to it, smarty pants. Smarty pantses. So we're going to open an SSH connection and enter our Pi's IP address. Okay, it's then going to ask us to log in, and we're going to log in as the user Pi. It's then going to ask us for the password. The password is subscribe below. Oh, it's not. I think the password is just Raspberry then. It's going to ask you if you want to save the password. That's up to you. Okay, now that we're here and logged in, we're going to enter the command sudo raspi config and hit enter. Okay, that's going to pop up the config tool. We're going to navigate to option 3 and choose interface options, then option 2 SSH, and we're going to click enable yes. You'll get a pop-up then to say that SSH is enabled. We're then just going to hit finish. And now that we've done that, we're going to edit the EEPROM file using the nano editor. And we're just going to punch this command in. Again, I'll leave all these commands in the description for you so it's nice and simple. And here what we want to do is just edit the word critical and update that to be stable. We then just want to hit Control X and the key Y to save and enter. We're then going to run through some Pi updates. During these updates you might get a pop-up to say that it needs to continue if you just press the key Y and hit enter. And again, this is going to take a few minutes. And if you're not doing anything while you're waiting for this, maybe check out my social media pages, give those a little follow. I'm sure I've only got 1 follower on Twitter, so maybe you could be the person that joins that 1 follower. Okay, let's actually be efficient with our time. So we're going to take our SSD and the SATA to USB cable, and we're going to go ahead and plug those in and just flash the HomeAssistant image to that drive. So we're going to open up our old friend Etcher. We're going to go flash from file, locate the HomeAssistant image, select the target, and you're going to choose your SSD, and then hit flash. You will get a pop-up to say that you're about to flash an unusually large drive, so just make sure that that is your SSD and not one of your main Windows drives or something like that, and then just hit yes, I'm sure. So we'll let that run through and flash, and we'll come back to our Pi here, and we'll see that that's finished. Okay, so our final command that we want to run here is just to reboot the Pi. So enter sudo reboot and that will go through that. And while that's rebooting, we'll go back to Etcher and we can see that that's also finished now. And with your SSH client, you want to just give that a second to reboot and then just restart that connection. We then want to just check the EEPROM version by entering this command, and it looks like we're running the latest, so that's all good. We then want to go back into the config tool. We then want to go into advanced options, boot order, and we want to put USB boot. And then we want to go back to advanced options, bootloader version, and we want to say use the latest version. So you get another pop-up now saying to reset the boot ROM to default. Make sure you hit no here, and boot ROM not reset to default. Okay, we can then finish up here and reboot. After that's rebooted, we're going to log in one more time, and then we're going to shut the Pi down. Okay, that should be all the sort of technically bits done. So now you want to safely eject your SSD if you haven't already, and then unplug your power, Ethernet, and take the SD card out of the Raspberry Pi. Then you want to hook up the SSD to the Pi and plug all the cables back in. We're then going to open up a new web browser, enter the IP address for our Pi, and we should get the Home Assistant screen. So I'm using my Pi's local address here, but you can also access it by going to homeassistant.local port 8123. Once that's done, you'll be able to create an account and then just hit the create account button. You can then enter your location, time zone, and preferred unit system. You'll be then asked if you want to add any integrations. We're just going to skip this and hit finish. And once you've hit finished, you'll be taken to the Lovelace dashboard. And there we have it, start to finish installation, the Pi on an SSD. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Now, if you are stuck, then don't worry. I do have a longer version of this video coming out where I'm going to go over the hardware, software, and all the steps in a bit more detail, and just go over some of the points that I've brushed over, like the SSH client, the IP, or if you're just a bit unsure on some of the terminology I've used or gone over, then maybe you'll be able to understand it in that next video. Again, if you have enjoyed it, consider subscribing, give me some feedback below, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one. Cheers!